Hi everyone, welcome to Shine. This week I'm going to be looking at a parable from Matthew 20 called the Parable of the Workers in the Vineyard, or another title that's given to it is the Parable of the Generous Employer. I actually think that's a much more appropriate title. So let's give it a read. So you see, Jesus said, the kingdom of heaven is like a landowner who went out early in the morning to hire workers for his vineyard. He agreed with the workers to give them a denarii and sent them off into his vineyard. He went out again in the middle of the morning and saw some others standing in the marketplace with nothing to do. You too can go to the vineyard, he said, and I'll give you what's right. So off they went. He went out again about midday, and then in the middle of the afternoon again and did the same. And then, with only an hour left of the day, he went out and found other people standing there. Why are you standing here with nothing to do? He asked them. Because no one has hired us, they replied. Well, he said, you too can go into the vineyard. When the evening came, the vineyard owner said to his servant, call the workers and give them their pay. Start with the last and then go on to the first. So the ones who had worked for 1 hour came, and each of them received a denarii. When the first ones came, they thought they would get something more, but they too each received a denarii. When they had been given it, they grumbled against the landowner. This lot who came in last, they said, have only worked for 1 hour, and they've been put on a level with us. And we did all the hard work all day, and in the heat as well. My friend, he said to one of them, I'm not doing you any wrong. You agreed with me on 1 denarii, didn't you? Take it, it's yours, and be on your way. I want to give this fellow who came at the end of the day the same as you. Or are you suggesting that I'm not allowed to do what I want with my own money? Maybe you're grumbling because I'm a generous boss. So, those at the back will be at the front, and those at the front will be at the back. What are your first thoughts about this parable? I think our worldly mindset says, that's not fair. I think I'd be pretty grumpy about it too, if I'd been there all day and someone that had just been there at the end got the same as me. And we can feel that way because we live in a world and in a system and a culture that fully subscribes to the very belief when it comes to wealth, health, and all the things that we seek to have, own, and do. If you work harder, you get more. But what is it we've been mulling on this term? Can you remember? Yes, we've been mulling on the kingdom of God. The upside down, topsy-turvy, back to front kingdom of God. It's not upside down to confuse us or even really to challenge us, but it often does do that. Jesus taught us about the kingdom this way to show us the very best way to see the world and the very best way to live in it. He wanted to show us God's plan for what the world really looks like. For me, the story is a lot about comparison and how comparison is not part of the kingdom of God at all. The workers who were hired at the beginning of the day were pretty pleased to be offered a denarii for their day's work. We don't know exactly how much a denarii would have been worth in today's money, but it was thought that back then one family needed about 1 denarii every week to live well. We saw with these workers that their mindset shifted from being pretty pleased at the beginning of the day to grumbling at the end of the day because they compared what they were given with the others and believed that it was unfair to them and even offensive. There's a really famous phrase that Theodore Roosevelt said. He said, comparison is the thief of joy. And Mark Twain again said, comparison is the death of joy. Wow. We can see the truth of these words when we think about the workers. They lost their joy when they compared what they had with the other workers. They compared how much work they'd put in. I think when it comes to the kingdom, God just wants to give out joy in so much abundance. He's got enough to go around. He's got enough joy, enough provision to go around. And he's such a generous giver. In God's kingdom, we'll always have more than we need. and He has more than we can even imagine. So, what's the key for us understanding this parable? I believe it's about checking our mindset. I think that there are two realities or two mindsets within us that are right now at this moment warring with one another. There's the reality that's around us, the worldly one, which tells us that this story is about an unfair wage. But the heavenly mindset, the kingdom mindset which lives within us too, teaches that God is so generous and so good that He wants all to come, everyone, no matter when, where or how they come. He wants to give to everyone generously. The way that God gives is not the way that the world gives. The way the world gives breeds comparison. The way that God gives is abundant and generous and good. So let's make sure we switch our mindsets, that we agree with the heavenly kingdom mindset within us that tells us, God, you are a generous giver, you love to give, you have abundance for us. Let's remember on the daily, when comparison sneaks in, to just switch our mindset back and remember the goodness of God in our everyday situations. I wanted to end today with the lyrics of a song from the Prince of Egypt, a song that encourages us, actually in the story it encourages Moses to shift our mindset to a heavenly one, to see our lives and our world in a different way. I'll add the link to the notes if you want to watch the video of the song, it's a really good one. The lyrics are: no life can escape being blown about by the winds of change and chance, and though you never know all the steps, you must learn to join the dance. And how do you judge what a man is worth? By what he builds or buys? You can never see with your eyes on earth. Look through heaven's eyes. You must look at your life through heaven's eyes. Be blessed, guys. Bye.